Hello, welcome to another episode of First Thoughts. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre, and I'm flying solo for this one. Trying this out. A lot of movies come out. We don't always get to all of them as a team, and I see quite a lot because I have the Alamo Drafthouse season pass, which allows me to see pretty much everything that Drafthouse picks up for about $2. So, why wouldn't I see everything? And life happens, things get in the way. Not everybody can make all these episodes. I totally get that. But I needed to talk about Dune Part 2 because holy shit, was this an experience. I think we all kind of figured this was going to be significant, exciting, memorable, powerful, but god damn. Um, Dune Part 2 was supposed to come out last fall, but the writer's strike got in the way. They couldn't promote Dune 2 due to the SAG guidelines, I think. I don't remember what. I think it was like the bylaws. The actors involved in the strikes could not promote a studio film because of red tapes. Anyway, whatever happened, it got pushed to 1st of March. And anticipation was palpable. The first Dune was a success, surprisingly, in the midst of COVID. 400 something million on 100 something million budget. Talked about it last week. Uh, that's pretty admirable for a COVID release. And Dune Part 2 has already made its money back in like 2 days. $190 million budget. It's made about 178 million so far, and it's just gonna skyrocket. This is gonna be a humongous hit. This is what Dune is supposed to be for people who've only seen the David Lynch film, the miniseries, or read the book. This is Dune. This is peak Dune. Yeah, just a fantastic movie. Go see it on the big screen if you can. Uh, Before I get further into it, I do want to just kind of explain my intent with these solo episodes. Basically, I'm going to talk about the stuff we don't talk about as a team. Stuff that other people on the team might not want to go see, and I totally get that. Not everybody's tastes are going to mesh. But I figure if I go see them, I'll say something. It doesn't have to be some prolonged giant episode, hour, maybe not even half hour. It's as long as it takes. With that, Dune Part 2 currently rocking a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, 95% audience score, which is phenomenal. Critics' consensus reads, visually thrilling and narratively epic, Dune Part 2 continues Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of the beloved sci-fi series in spectacular form, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Makes me sad that he's gonna hang it up with a third movie, which I believe is gonna be Children of Dune. I guess he's skipping over Dune Messiah. There's five books: Dune, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, Chapter House Dune. 6 books. There's 6 Dune books, and I would love to see Villeneuve tackle all of them. I want to see this entire story adapted to film his way because he has done amazing stuff with this book. Dune 1 and 2 is just the first Dune novel, which is quite a mammoth. Admittedly, I tried to read it. I got 100 pages in, couldn't do it. Got stuck reading the economics of Arrakis and had a moment of like, what? Why? Really? God damn it. And I was in the midst of reading Zodiac for fun, and I'd been putting that off. And so I was just like, I can't read Dune. I don't want to. I know this is terrible, but I just told myself, I'll see the movie. I'll see the movie. And I did. And it was great. Dune 2 rocking a 9.0 on IMDb, which is amazing. It'll probably drop because that's like Shawshank Redemption level score. But at the moment, 9.0 and a resounding 4.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So this is beloved. which is not a surprise. I recommend seeing this on the biggest screen possible, particularly the final act, which is fucking special. The original Dune from 1984 pretty much shoved this entire movie into the last like 40 minutes. So it did not get the attention or care it really deserved. I wish David Lynch would watch this because I bet this is probably the image he had for Dune when he went to make it, but didn't have the budget, the technology, the producer faith, didn't have any of that. So it ended up being a cult favorite that has not aged well. I've seen it twice. I'm not watching it for a third time. I'm just not going to do that. Let's talk a bit about the plot of Dune Part 2. So Dune 2021 ended with Paul Atreides losing everything. The Harkonnens destroyed his family, destroyed his family's friends and allies. Everything was gone. Atreides was dead. Paul and his mother Jessica escaped to the Fremen, who took them in, believing him to be a messiah, or at least Stilgar, one of the leaders, believed him to be a messiah known as uh, the Lisan al-Gaib, which is a mouthful. And this movie is pretty much Paul Atreides proving himself as this Messiah, which he doesn't believe at first that he is, but he's destined for a lot of shit. There's this Lisan al-Gaib that the Fremen believe him to be. There's the Kwisatz Haderach, which the Bene Gesserit think he might be. And that's a lot. And he's just a teenage, well, not teenage, like early 20s kid with a big legacy on his shoulders, trying to shoulder this crazy responsibility that he doesn't really want, but needs to, you know, avenge his family. He's also fallen in love with Chani, who he fell in love with through a vision of her, and then actually met her at the end of the first movie. And Zendaya and Timothy Chalamet have fucking phenomenal chemistry in this. Especially Zendaya about steals the show. Her performance is fantastic. Uh, I love Paul's relationship with Stilgar. Uh, a good kind of mentor-mentee relationship that they've got. Javier Bardem and Chalamet do fantastic with that. It's cool to see Stilgar so committed. He reminds me a lot of Morpheus. This is the one, and no one can tell me otherwise. You gotta love those committed. Uh, the people who are so committed to their faith they just ignore obvious signs in film. I don't know something. I don't know if it's admirable, but it's certainly interesting. Meanwhile, the Harkonnens have pretty much taken back ownership of Arrakis, and the Baron, still fat as holy hell, is happy that his, centuries-long enemy, Atreides, is dead, thanks to the effort of the Emperor of the Universe, who we meet in this movie, played by Christopher Walken. Because when you cast the Emperor of the Universe, you go for a vet, and when you can get a vet like Christopher Walken, shit just falls into place. Florence Pugh plays his daughter, Princess Irulan, I don't know how to say that, who believes all of this to be pretty backhanded and shitty, that her father would go out of his way to completely obliterate one of the noble houses of the universe for political gain. And she's kind of our unofficial narrator through her like captain's log journal thing, which is good. Florence Pugh is always reliable for a fantastic performance. And Harkonnen has decided to award Arrakis to his nephew, the psychotic and freaky Feyd-Rautha, played by Austin Butler in a chameleon-like performance. Holy shit, well done, Elvis. And that character was played by Sting in the original, and he was kind of a goofball. So to see him go from, kind of mustache twirling, kind of villain to straight up sadist who's burning people alive is a big jump. Props. Well done, Austin Butler. And Baron Harkonnen, Stellan Skarsgård, continues to just be unsettling and almost inhuman in his performance. So Paul and Chani are kind of falling for each other. I mean, Paul's already, he's already there, but Chani is starting to realize he's not just another outsider. He's somebody special. He's somebody to believe in. And when he rides the big worm, all the Fremen are like, "Yep, I think I get it now." That was a pretty cool scene. Through all of this, Paul's mother Jessica has been chosen to replace the Reverend Mother of the Fremen. So she's going to be a super Bene Gesserit. And you find out through all this that Charlotte Rampling, the Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother of the universe, has pretty much been the one manipulating all of this throughout the entire Dune story. She's the one who advised the Emperor to destroy Atreides. She's the one who did that because she will not let Paul become the Kwisatz Haderach because that threatens her power. And she's going to start over with, of all people, Fade fucking Routha. He's her new beau, her new choice for the Kwisatz Haderach, which is crazy because you don't give somebody that nuts that kind of power. But I guess whatever helps, float the Bene Gesserit boat. Paul starts leading missions to destroy the Harkonnens' spice gathering operation, and through that he becomes a legend on Arrakis known as Muad'Dib, which translates to like desert mouse or something, but it's his Fremen name. And the Harkonnens don't know Paul's alive. They're just hearing about this Muad'Dib who's destroying their operation, and they're super crazy pissed. And uh, Dave Batista, Rabban Harkonnen, the other nephew of the Baron, he's the guy who takes the blame for failing to kill this guy. So the Harkonnens basically just keep kicking the shit out of him, being like, dude, what, you got one job, fucking do it. So Fade is brought in to fix the situation, and Rabban does not like that. So we also find out Gurney Halleck's alive. Good to hear that. Josh Brolin's back as the last piece of House Atreides other than Paul, and he's more than willing to help Paul disrupt the Harkonnen operation and get some, fucking vengeance. So as Paul and Chani and Stilgar and the Fremen all start taking down the Harkonnens, Fade Routha gets wise to their operation and wipes out quite a significant bunch of them. And we get an awesome introduction to Fade Routha through a Coliseum fight on the Harkonnen homeworld that was all like a physical black and white paint thing. I don't know what they did. No, excuse me. But it was so neat. And Greg Fraser's back as the cinematographer. And fucking hell, man. I don't know if this is going to count for the 97th Academy Awards Oscar season. I doubt it because it's coming out before the 96th Oscar. So I think there's like a kind of a limbo area of film release where this is not going to be considered, but it should be. I liked the first Dune, but I loved the second Dune. This is one of the best sequels of all time, a beautiful, epic sci-fi adventure. Like, if you were going to pick a film to like define 21st century science fiction, this is a contender for sure. So Paul and the rest of the Fremen, they go to the southern area of Arrakis where the Fremen who live there are quite fundamentalist in their beliefs, and Jessica went there earlier to kind of prepare them to accept Paul as this Messiah figure. And Paul is starting to realize that he's only really got one option here, and that is he has to accept that role as I'm never going to remember this, the Lisan al-Gaib, and unite the Fremen and take on the Harkonnen. This is the only way that Arrakis will ever be free. So in order to do that, he drinks the water of life, which is the blood of the worms, and is supposed to be viciously lethal to men. Only women can drink this, and it awakens their, the Bene Gesserit magic within them. Jessica does it earlier in the movie, and it makes him a Reverend Mother. Paul does it, and he passes out. Chani thinks he's dead. He wakes up almost renewed, like he's, been reborn, like he's died and resurrected. Sound familiar? Not exactly subtle, but it is exciting. So now Paul has the magic power of the Bene Gesserit plus the strength of this Fremen Messiah figure. So he goes before the Fremen and like freaks them out with some psychic shit. You also learn that Arrakis, before the Harkonnens conquered it had a Fremen name, and it was Dune. And I gotta say, I got chills when he said that. It's like, ah, there you go. He announced that he is the one more time the Lisan Al-Gaib, and tells them like, we're gonna take down Arrakis together, or and we're gonna take down Harkonnens together. Arrakis will be free. And Chani's looking at him like, what have you become? You said you wouldn't do this. And earlier, by the way, he found out through these visions that his mother Jessica is the daughter of Baron Harkonnen, which makes Paul a Harkonnen. The Baron's his fucking grandfather. Oh my God, what a shock! So he is Atreides and he's Harkonnen, but at this point, he pretty much erases his Atreides like heritage and just decides, I'm gonna play this like a Harkonnen. Everyone dies, which is pretty brutal for your hero to just decide, I'm gonna tear this shit down. But he does, and the the ending of this film is so exciting. Uh, the Emperor decides to show up and deal with this personally, which is stupid to put yourself in harm's way like that. Uh, he blames the Baron for this failure to control Arrakis, and now the spice trade, which is the most profitable trade in the universe, is in danger. He who controls the spice controls the universe, and looks like the Fremen are starting to have more control over this whole situation than the Harkonnens or even the Emperor. So he sends his entire army to take care of this. But the Fremen show up riding the giant worms and just massacre the Emperor's army and the Harkonnens. Also with nukes that Gurney said he found, which was kind of crazy. And Paul gets into the Emperor's ship, takes him hostage, kills the Baron immediately, stabs him in the neck. Very rewarding to see that fucker go, especially after seeing what he did to Leto in the first movie. And now Paul takes them all hostage, and the Emperor declares Fade Routha his champion, and Paul and Fade have it out in a epic knife fight, which looks like Paul's going to lose, and then he sneaks in an attack, stabs Fade in the heart, and Javier Bardem's like, he did it. See, he's the Messiah, and everyone's like, woo. It reminded me a lot of Life of Brian. There's moments in this where Paul's like, I'm not the Messiah, and Stilgar's like, see, he's so humble. He is the Messiah. It's straight out of Life of Brian. I'm not the Messiah. Don't listen to me. We will not listen to you. Yeah, anyway. Um, so Fade Routh is dead. The Emperor has lost. Paul says, I'll marry your daughter, keep the bloodline intact, and I will rule. And everyone's like, whoa. Especially Chani, who's like, whoa, I thought we were a thing. And she storms out, understandably angry, because Paul didn't tell her he was going to do that. The Emperor kneels before Paul and kisses the ring, and so everyone else kneels. But the other great houses who showed up uh, on orders of the Emperor refused to acknowledge Paul's ascension, which means war. So the Fremen get in the Harkonnen ships and are about to go to war on Paul's behalf with the other great houses of the universe. So shit's about to get really, really, really bloody, as per Paul's visions from earlier. And Chani goes off on her own, rides a worm back to Dune, upset and angry about how this all turned out, and I get it. Whew, I hope we get Villeneuve's Dune 3 because I want to see how this war pans out. I mean, I could just read the books, but I tried and I didn't. I don't like Frank Herbert's writing style, so sorry. But this is a great movie. This is a theater movie. This is the film to beat this year. Uh, I I don't know what more I could say. It's fantastic. Dune 2, well, Dune Part 2, a fantastic movie. Next week, major releases include Imaginary, a horror film about a young girl's imaginary friend who gets homicidal, Kung Fu Panda 4, which speaks for itself, and possible Screambox release, Followers. We had a Screambox screener episode a few weeks ago with Here for Blood, and we might be doing another one with Followers. So keep that in mind. Next week, cool shit. In the meantime, see Dune, see Lisa Frankenstein if that's still out. Uh, what else came out that I don't know. Go see all the stuff. All of it's good. Well, not all of it. Madam Web sucked. Maybe ignore that one, but I don't even think that's probably gone. Uh, Take it easy. I'm looking forward to doing more of these solo kind of quick spotlights on films that I saw by myself. And yeah, have a good one.